Right, welcome back. Last time, we actually formed Tuscany. Well, there was only one way to do it via the mission tree, but that's because the Shadow Kingdom event fired, and, well, Italy's no longer in the HRE. So not only was Lucca no longer a free city, Massa also was reasonably willing to become a vassal, so... Yeah. I'm actually in a fairly reasonable position to go up against Milan. I won't have any allies for this, outside of my subjects, of course, but... It is an interesting possibility. Although there are some oddities with the spy network, caused it to break somewhat. I've seen it happen a couple times, so I think it might be an issue with the specific patch for EU4. It's a bit strange. Oh, Batoolus is stuck here. Moldavia. Lovely. But yes, I've pushed through a tax service for direct taxation. I didn't have the points to do that the same to indirect taxation, which is why that didn't occur. And the reason why I was low on points is because I went for civic religion ideas and pushed through all of them at once. But it's for a good reason. It gave me poor relief, which means I get +1 yearly Republican tradition, which is already on its own enough to pay for re-election. So, Republican tradition should no longer be an issue at all, even in the face of a lot of reforms, because then I could just, do re-election, elect new officials, and it should at the very least make gameplay more effective. Because I should be able to earn a lot more points, because that is 50 points every 4 years. That's honestly quite a bit. It's not amazing, since it's very close to 1 point per month, but it's still pretty good. Additionally, I think I am fairly close to the requirements for, well, that's not the thing I was looking at. The requirements, there we go, for tax service and tax collection. I do need Sovereign Courts of Justice and 60 state reach though, so yeah, it's going to take some effort, but I'm sure I can handle it. Am I expanding the bureaucracy? No, doesn't look like it. Oh well. I'm sure I will remember to do that later. Hopefully I'll have enough points for everything. Anyway, let's get on with it. A new translation. I think Dithmarschen got this one. Yep. Though the event itself does seem to be localized to over here. So, yeah, there might be some oddities that occur. But is that really any different from the usual? Anyway. Humanist scholars made many interesting discoveries while translating Greek texts into Latin. Because the Byzantines had preserved Roman writings in Greek, it meant that many older works once thought to be lost were available to be studied once more, and humanists busied themselves translating them into Latin to reach wider audiences. A wider audience. Okay. Among the most notable was the translation of the New Testament into Latin by Isaac Groverman, Dithmarschen theologian and philosopher. The Catholic Church already had a Latin translation, of course, but by going back to the preserved Greek copies, it was possible to compare early Christian verses with modern ones. Page by page, the new translation compared the official Vulgate translation with the new one, showing errors and omissions. Educated Catholics soon came to the conclusion that the translators of the Bible were not divinely inspired, and that the Church could make mistakes. It was a troubling thought. May the translators be in error? The translators were in error. That's the option that Dithmarschen took. Are they still? No, they're Protestant. Why would you pick that? Unless you're trying to make your own clergy happy. Moving on. Okay, I think it's time. I think it's time we go up against Milan. I don't think I'm going to get much more manpower than I do have now. And the situation is not particularly tenable. I want to integrate my vassals at some point soonish, because that would be the best way to handle them. But integrating them will necessarily weaken my power, since they can more efficiently leverage their territory and their own manpower. To some degree. I mean, conscription is fairly effective. Oh, and they already have conscription. If I don't act now, I'm gonna lose that advantage, so... Let's go. Defensive. Probably the best option is to remain in defensive positions and act as such. Or, of course, I can be so effective that I win against them fairly easily. I forgot the fact that my troop quality is through the roof already, in comparison to what the average is. Since I specifically go for such things as, well, quality ideas. And they haven't, they went for quantity, which just gives them more troops to work with, but in a one-on-one fight, even with a slight disadvantage, yeah. Plus, shock is king right now, and I've got a lot of shock pips on the general. Though he does lack any siege pips, so sieging is going to take the longest it possibly can, since I haven't put artillery. Unlike with the Inca game. In the Inca game, there was no cavalry, and combat was for tiny, so artillery, it was one of the few cases where artillery actually had reasonable combat effectiveness. And there was a good reason to invest into it. That's from Verona, so. No, I'm not gonna try that. I know better than to try that. Well, the bare minimum is to get Modena back. I also want Res back. That's not happening yet, though. Actually, I think supportive would be the best option here. Oh, that's a bad start. This one apparently has a huge amount of fire pips. It's a bad shock roll. Okay, I need a moment to recover strength. Oh, sure. I don't know why you would need mill access through me when you're all the way here. Mecklenburg Schwerin. Pomerania. Brandenburg. There you are. You're this tiny little country. Oh, you're in a personal union with me. Why does Naples have a person? Okay, you can't move. Not willing to do it because, yeah, differing military strengths. What happens if I start sieging down Verona? Might be enough for Verona to be willing to... Yeah, actually, it would be. To exit the war after a moment. That should at least weaken the case of Milan. Especially since, oh boy, okay, so I can't take advantage of anything. The only thing I can take advantage of is terrain, specifically. I need more time. I need to build the troops back up. It's gonna have to go into another year. I guess I'll wait here. Wait, Bohemia just joined the Lutheran League. Oh, does that mean anything? Well, that means that the religious wars in the HRE are starting, and that's going to get very, very interesting. Oh yes. League wars are starting to happen. Starting to happen. Oh, the light blue is the Passau, Fürstenberg. Bishop elector. Oh, they're electors. Yeah. Free cities, electors. The symbols don't quite fit to the bounding size of the boxes. Yep. Happened to you, everyone. Alright, let's move on with the war. Excellent. As long as we can keep fighting like that, I might be able to get everything I want out of this. Well, there's little reason to grab anything more than these. Bit of cash? Okay, yeah. That should be everything, I believe. Oh, okay. After that, I can focus on starting to integrate my other puppets. Well, my vassal states in Lucca and Maka. Well, definitely Lucca, maybe Masa. Alright. Okay, that also allows me to complete this mission, which gets me a permanent claim on the Liguri area and the Padam Valley area. Well. Can't accept grant claims, but, well, I can certainly make my interest be known. Alright, and start annexing. Look up. Okay, we are all done for now. Lead of Radocravel. What? Is that Czech? I think that's Czech. It might not be, but that looks Czech to me, so. Okay, the Holy Roman Empire stands divided into two camps, each hoping to enforce their faith on the other. Several heretic princes have joined together in a league formed in the city of Radocravel. Ah, okay. Which is somewhere in here. You have to also remember that, yeah, city name and province name are not necessarily the same. Anyway. While the Emperor has rallied his forces against them, it is looking increasingly like a major war will soon break out. It may be in our best interest to keep the Empire divided. Keep a watchful eye on the Empire. Radical reformer. Much to the surprise of early Lutherans, it was only a matter of time before competing ideas split the Reformation. Much to the surprise. Look, eventually, it leads to this one thing. You're going to have competing ideas. Because no one perfectly agrees, there is no single person that perfectly agrees with another person, at least not unless they're a complete and utter sycophant. Simply put, every thinker is going to have their own ideas, their own thoughts, their own experiences, which inform those ideas, etc. Which is why philosophy is such an important thing. There is never going to be one philosopher that perfectly agrees with your own perspective. Although there will exist philosophers that entirely differ from your perspective, because there's always multiple options, and the chances are that, well, out of hundreds, thousands of people that became philosophers, that, you know, have actual writings, the millions of people that have taken the time to think about things like this for more than 5 minutes, there's a decent chance that someone has answered to something different in almost every question that isn't self-evident. After all, everyone's a human being, so they all agree that they are humans. At least every human on the planet. It's self-evident, basically. Because pretty much every being that can do A, do philosophy, and B, communicate such philosophy to others in suitably abstract language is human. Anyway, let's leave that seg off and go back. Some theologians felt that the Reformation had not gone nearly far enough. These radicals rejected transubstantiation, the idea that the body and blood of Christ was present in the host, as a myth, considering baptism a contract with God that could be voided with sin, and suggested that an omniscient God implied predestination that God knew in advance who was damned and who was saved. These were strange and new ideas, and they caused division among the Lutherans. One such radical, named John Calvin, started to preach in pro-razon and has made many converts to his strange ideas. Are they on the map yet? Not necessarily. It might take a while for the Reform to start becoming a thing. Oh, there's a remote province here, isn't it? Yeah. Occupied by order of this. Ah. Are they Mahayana? It's odd, but okay. Read his works critically. There may be room yet for that. I wonder how those ideas will spread. Oh. Oh, right, the time. Or the year, to be more precise. Right. Okay. Okay, it's time for the yearly. Twice a decade thing. Marriage. The loyalty of the nobles is a bit low, thanks to taking away their biased courts. So I definitely should expand the bureaucracy. It's going to be important from here on out to increase the power of the state. At very least it will make tax collection more efficient, more effective. And that's extremely important towards ensuring that I can pay for the army. And the bubonic plague is here again. I keep getting plague after plague. Oh well. Stuff happens, so really isn't much I can do about it. This casual literacy is spreading fairly quickly. Now, in the capital. I can't presume much about other locations, which, yeah. It's pretty much limited to the capital. Other locations have not seen enough investment into educational infrastructure. Even though I have... I've opened up higher education slots. It's just that knowledge production is really bad before casual literacy becomes a thing. Then it starts to become really good. Especially for higher learning. Anyway, once paved... Okay, so pathing rank 3. I mean, I could work on pathing infrastructure, though it depends on how much peasant labor is available, which, if I remember correctly, yeah, there's a lot of urban labor available, but not peasant labor. We do seem to have a dearth of peasant labor in most locations, so... Outside of maybe Pisa. And that just means we need more population. Oh, and we need fewer people in the cities. Luckily, immigration seems to be fairly high, so... Moving on. Oh, the prince. MEIOU, it's advisory event. Otherwise, it would not have happened to Flanders. MEIOU ten Hove, Flemish author, philosopher, and historian, has just finished a magnum opus, a book dedicated to the Prince of Flanders, Jan II, entitled Il Principe. The book is a manual for rulership which teaches that a ruler must separate his personal morality from his office as prince. He must be willing to exercise brute force and deceit to head off challenges to his authority and establish legitimacy and stability. In other words, the ends justify the means. While well written, it may be dangerous to follow its advice. Not only has the book been forbidden by the church, there are people who believe the entire thing to be a veiled satire of the prince himself. Oh, that's a dangerous game you're playing, founders. Well, exitus acta probat. Actually, that's part of the reason why I don't like the concept of rulership as it is. You must separate morality and rulership, otherwise you will not get the most effective answer. Because usually, the most effective answer is to answer any challenge to your own power with brute force. And a lot of it. Oh. Well, at least elections no longer out on the 31st of December, which makes things slightly easier. I do not like any of these numbers, though. Okay, I don't think I need to putting advisors into the video, so moving on. The birth of Calvinism. Well, the very first couple sentences are exactly the same as an event that came just a little while ago, so I don't feel the need to read those again. Although admittedly I am spending more time saying this than I would be if I had actually read them. Oh well. It's a way to add content while I'm trying to write down times. Okay. The core tenets of his doctrine are poverty of the clergy, universal priesthood, gospel in vulgar tongue, celebration of the communion under both kinds for all, punishment for mortal sins regardless of stature. Ah. Are you reformed now? Or are the effects? Calvinist. Urban production and efficiency plus 2.5%. Merchants plus 1. Morale of armies plus 5%. Oh, that's actually a good combination of ideas. I don't like the minus 5% religious unity, but we can work with it. Also seems like a lot of France is occupied by Bohemia. Sure, I think I'll support the religion, though I don't think I will... I'm not sure if I'll convert to it. There are a couple of countries that have converted to it. I think Württemberg and Savoy are the two big ones. Oh, here's Friesland that has converted to it. Not sure there are any centers of reformation, but support him. Ah, right, that decision is the way to immediately convert. I had completely forgotten about that. Yeah, my religious unity is going to be subpar for the time being. Okay, yeah. It's perfectly reasonable now to oust the Knights and the Teutons. Faith of the realm, the religion of the country has changed. This may lead to some instability. Dogma of our religion. Diophytism. Jesus is one person with two natures, one human, one divine, and two wills. Dogma. No direct effect. Dogma has no direct effect. Procession of the Holy Spirit from the Son. Theotokos. Mary, Mother of God. Denial of Trinitarianism, spiritual feeding, and denial of a purgatory. Tenets of religion, universal priesthood, pending clergy gravity effect. It will be implemented, it doesn't exist yet. Adult baptism, global missionary strength plus 2.5%. Bible and vernacular. Religious unity minus 10%, increases speed of religious shift. Spiritual power only, clergy power minus 2.5%. Loyalty is also a lower base. A similar lower base quantity. Cult of Saints is idolatry. Church aspect. Legitimacy minus 1%. Stability cost interval modifier plus 1%. Divorce legal. Coming up, possibility to divorce consular. Married priest, pending clergy gravity effect. Create through church. Tolerance to own religion plus 0.5. Clergy poverty. Pending reduction of population wealth stiffened to the clergy. No primacy. Base hierarchy plus 1%. Communion to laity under both kinds. Base spirituality plus 1%. Rationality. Pending effect. Local tenants. Rejection of monasticism. Pending effect. Adulteress is condemned. Yearly corruption minus 1%. Legitimacy minus 1%. Well, I don't have legitimacy, so. Usury authorized. Interest minus 5%. Inflation reduction plus 2.5%. Regulated parish registers. Manpower recovery speed plus 1%. Simony condemned. Pending effects. Absenteeism condemned. Global missionary strength plus 1%. Clergy power plus 2.5%. Tolerance policy. One faith with limited tolerance. All should convert to our faith except for the Jews who are tolerated. Very well. This should get interesting. Well, it's time again. The decade is over, or at least the last decade is over. It's the perfect time for more reforms. Or at least finagling the various factions around. I don't have the reach for all that, that's for sure. I think I should start attacking income of the church. Yeah, reducing the tithes to merely donations. It will double donations, but okay, it will make so that the peasantry no longer tithe. Instead, they will just donate, which will produce, so the entire tithing section is going to be gone. A small portion of it will remain, but it's going from 10% of clergy power to 0.35% of clergy power, as well as a base of 0.4%. Considering that they have 35% power, so it goes from 3.5% of peasantry income to, well, a very small amount, about 0.5%. So a seventh. Considering how their positive income is actually, if I remove their tithes entirely, the positive income will be gone. Yeah. Yeah. Because that's going to drop from 15 to 2. A bit more than 2. So they'll barely be in, well, they'll be breaking even at that point. Plus I also want to do that. I'm going to need a bureaucratic advisor though. Unrest is too important. You're dirt cheap. I like the, well, she's a little more pricey, but it's because I've already bought up the advisor costs. It's hilarious. Okay, so I need to increase the prominence of the bureaucracy. Then I can just do these two, yeah. The clergy aren't going to like this, but further reform. There we go, enact. Oh. Never like hearing the loss of stability. Let's find a bit of burger loyalty. Yield concessions to ancient liberties. I guess arrange a strategic marriage. I don't really need to increase power. So. Lavishly endow the church to make up for your finances for a while. Form a show of devotion. I don't think I can afford to oppose populist reform. Donate to the church. Okay. And let's get stability back. That should help keep things under control temporarily. Missionary strength is going to be very low for a while though. And I am leery to do the enforce religious law. Because of the sheer quantity of, yeah. That's a lot of roads. Thankfully, they'll probably be split up. But half the provinces in the realm are in some state of unrest. Yeah. The religious conversion is never easy, but in the long run, I'm sure it'll be worth it. I'm sure. Yeah, there's not much else to do other than maybe expand the size of the military again. I don't feel like it right now, so. Moving on. You know, with the League War still raging on, there isn't really much of a better opportunity to attack Genoa, at least not anytime soon. At the very least in order to take Liguria. Well, the capital off of them. So why not? I'm just going to need to ensure that my ships stay in port, because it's going to be the navies of Genoa and Naples. That's the dangerous part. I'm also in the process of constructing a fort, but I don't think there will be enough time to wait. The League War only lasts for so long, so... And I can't bring France. France is just way too busy, and they're not willing to attack Genoa in the first place, so... Let's get on with it. Yeah, my vassals are finagling around, aren't they? Just wonder where the troops are. Oh boy, this is going to take forever to siege down, isn't it? Okay, that was the most important thing I could do in the war. The most important thing. After all, that is the war goal. It's an atrociously hard one to obtain because it's a level 3 fort in a very defensible location on the coastline. But now I'm getting ticking war score. Of course, there's a sheer amount of war score that comes from them being able to blockade me. Which amounts to a lot, as well as Mantua being occupied. We're having level 4 now. Is it... I thought the AI was patched not to do this anymore, but okay, go ahead and try. That doesn't stack like them. Oh, there we go. That's all I need. Okay, so the question is, which is... I prefer aristocrat loyalty. Burger loyalty is fairly cheap to obtain, so... Stack wiped. Okay, with this they're going to be very unwilling to do much of anything. Hey, I could even grab Corsica. I doubt I can grab both. No, I cannot. But I am surprised by the lack of aggressive expansion involved. Might be a bit pricey though. I need to take down Naples' attempts. I have won a battle against them before, so I know I am fairly effective. Yeah. They lack quality. I do not. So... all this involves, from this point on, is convincing Naples to leave the war. And possibly taking Urbino for myself. Though I should probably focus on building a spy network against them. Of course, that means I can't check peace terms because reasons. But yeah. The third principle of alchemy. Fascinating. Alchemy is, after all, the predecessor to, well, chemistry. My numbers are wrong. Oh no! Did I forget to write an end time down? Did I? Okay, I'm gonna have to figure this out in editing. The medical profession in Orford largely relied on a combination of alchemical theories and sacred relics to diagnose and treat diseases. Physicians who suggested that these traditional methods could be flawed caused a great deal of friction with the authorities. Like most physicians, Alexander Lippstadt, Saxon physician, so yeah, random advisory event again, alchemist and philosopher, believed the Philosopher's Stone could cure all ills and transform metals into gold. And, unlike most physicians, that the legitimacy of a treatment was based purely on whether it worked. Amazing. Even cures practiced by barbers, magicians, or chemists were fair game if they worked, and even cures practiced by the church were wrong if they did not. For that reason, Alexander Lippstadt spoke out publicly against the use of sacred relics in treating the sick, a topic that inevitably resulted in angry mobs and a sudden move to a new town. Over the years, Alexander Lippstadt developed a series of experimental treatments using a new third principle of alchemy, the use of mineral salts to complement the existing use of sulfur and mercury. These treatments sometimes backfired. However, the belief in observation and testing resulted in the advancement of science of medicine. He is surely a quack, isn't he? Read these series with detached interest. Well, they deserve more than detached interest, don't they? After all, the lives of many, many people are at stake, even if simulated. Breton War for Independence. Oh no. I'm busy right now. In a war that you would be entirely unwilling to help me with. Isn't the League War still raging, honestly? Okay. Brittany, England, Lancaster, Wales, Burgundy, and Savoy. That's... Actually, not... Yeah, the League War's still ongoing. That's why Brittany revolted. They're only allied with Spain. Okay, so Brittany picked up an alliance with Spain, but not the others. Is this an event that occurred, or...? Okay, I'll help once this war is over. I still need to finish this, after all. Okay, yeah, I probably would be too much. Alright, okay. That should be the peace deal. Well, at least as far as land is concerned. And that's the important bit. The rest is just extras, since they don't change anything on the map, I guess. Transfer, but no, that's also too much. And I need to end the war sooner rather than later. There's a very mild threat to France's existence. And I kinda have to help. Oh, okay, so you would take that much. Alright, time to head back. Time to save France. From itself, I guess. After all, Brittany is part of France, is it not? There's probably going to be a lot of annoyance from that statement. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so naval doctrine selected. That should... I mean, I'm in the Mediterranean. It's the perfect location for galleys. Double damage? Yeah. Absolutely perfect for galleys fighting. Pen, come on, do your job. There we go. Okay. Alright, continue expand the administration is the top priority. So I can start rationalizing the taxation system. In order to gain more aristocrat loyalty, I would do that. Of course, in exchange, restrict due exemptions to prominent aristocrats. Definitely want to get more tax money off of them, if only to weaken their power. and arrange another strategic merit. Yeah, just because I want to weaken a power doesn't mean that I'll stop doing that. It's a great way to earn more money, especially considering that they've lost a lot of money for some reason. I wonder how the church is doing money-wise. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes things just suddenly start varying wildly. Anything else? No? I mean, there is no need for reforms in the government reform tab. After all, that requires career soldier, which requires a third military idea group. I will be getting that, for sure, next. Just look how many mill points I have extra. Especially considering the fact that I bought the tech level 32 at, like, with a 7-year ahead of time penalty in order to get the edge over Milan. Yeah. Oh, casual literacy has also arrived from the capital. I highly doubt that's a... Oh, it is. Huh. That's funny. It's going to take forever for it to reach the other provinces, and knowing my luck, autonomy's going down, isn't it? Oh, it appears to be going up. Well, prestige is also going down. Sure. Well, it is spreading to Liguria. Not really. Okay, fine. I'll take it. Stability drops immediately. Okay. I can deal with the rebels now too. Excellent. The Trilingual College. Oh, that's something I haven't heard of before, so that must be interesting. Or it might just be a random advisor event. That's never something I heard of, and definitely not in relation to Florence. Which is weird, because I know a decent amount about the history of Florence, at least during the interesting periods. Anyway. Yeah, philosopher, of course. Pasquale Gerardini is causing a stir in Fiorenza by announcing the opening of a college there. As humanism spread, so did the study of the classics. Once thought destroyed, many classics were rediscovered in Greek texts, but very few scholars could read Greek. To encourage study, he wrote a Greek dictionary and opened a college that would teach students 3 languages. The sacred languages of Latin, Greek, and Hebrew, the better to study the Bible and the classics in their original forms. This has caused a backlash as church theologians worry that untrained Christians reading the Bible will misunderstand its nuances, and study in foreign tongues will reintroduce long-dead heresies. The controversy has only spurred him onward, however. Now we have a request for the Confalione to provide funding for a library of humanist texts to support the college. Establish a royal library. That's a huge amount of admin points, and it's going to be very useful for future endeavors. Okay, I'd say this is a good point to stop for this session. So, yep, Spain finally discovered the New World. It took until a couple months ago, which is very, very late. But they managed it. So, the New World has finally been discovered. For reals. Okay, so. It's still the end of the decade, so let's go ahead and do the things that we need to do. First, barrel rifling. Lamb round plus 109, capital width plus 1, infantry shock plus 115, artillery shock plus 104, enables Sakers, I believe. Yeah. Invincible general cannon sounds like something out of China. Galleons. Unlocks the galleon, of course. Naval force limit plus 5%, trade range plus 30. Realist politics. Stability cost and roll -1%. Ooh, next decade is the gymnasium schools, which would allow me to get another military deal. And that will allow me to do some very important things over there. I might actually do minor reforms. I think I can put together enough for some things. It's going to be awful obtaining civil examinations too, isn't it? I can still do other things like enforce basic oversight, though. Enforce sovereign law, etc. I have plenty of points to burn. What I don't have to burn is other stuff like loyalty. Because that depends on... Okay, I should be able to get at least 30. More is not likely. Yeah, it's 32. Because I've also bolstered noble influence recently in order to get their loyalty up. Enforce sovereign law and good jurisdictions. Oh, that's severely lowered everything. So I'm gonna take a moment. Grant heavy concessions to everyone. Tax relief. Promote support commerce. Perform show of devotion. Opposing populist reform right now is a terrible idea. But I will donate to the church again because, well, I've severely hurt their finances by disabling tithing and moving to donations. Which has decreased, well, they do get a lot more donations than they did previously, but the amount of drain on peasant finances is much lower, which improves the economy since they're actually spending it on goods, because money that sits within a faction's pockets really isn't spent. Not nearly as much as that of the commoners. So say, buy things like, you know, food, beer, and whatever minimal luxuries they can afford, like furniture. Anyway, I have in fact embraced casual literacy. I did it once at arrived in Fiorenza. Which probably is a good thing because it did not spread any, has not spread any further since then. I've also went to war against Milan and managed to grab these 3 provinces. And I'm planning on grabbing 3 more in the future. Not necessarily near, but in the future. And I also went to war against Genoa and in the process against Naples too. However, I was able to grab Liguria and Corsica, so that's nice. Savoy did in another war, managed to take Continental, so... I'm going to need Nizza too anyway in order to form Italy, so... At some point, I'm going to have to go to war against the Emperor. There's no going around it. I'm also going to have to go to war against pretty much everyone north of me, honestly. Except for Yuli and Bavaria. I've also decided on a whim to convert to Reformed, so that's nice. I see that Savoy has been forced to convert back. They used to be Reformed, but I guess that's no longer the case. Yes, I am very, very alone. At least Spire is Reformed, and I believe, okay, Württemberg has converted back to Catholic. That's, yeah. But, well, Calvinist is actually fairly decent of a religion with its effects. It does have low tolerance of heretics and low religious unity, but I'm working on it. Give it time. And some of the issues are due to lack of stability and the fact that it's rather culture and heretic center. Yeah, well, oh, there's also quite a bit of hefty separatism in these areas too. That's not in this area. Over in these areas, that's yeah, pretty hefty. Oh, and large quantities of unrest due to unrelated reasons. I definitely need to turn off the poll tax, don't I? I think by now I can say that I've done well enough. can afford to lose 2 ducats a month. So, okay. Go ahead and delegate the tax code. That should heavily reduce unrest in so many areas, which will make it easier for me to handle these things. Okay. Is there any other reforms that I want to do? I mean, there might be one that I want. No, that requires 40. This requires 25 loyalty, which is I'm not sure I can actually burn. And the amount of corruption I already have is pretty bad. Plus, that burns the stability. Yeah, leave it for later. I can afford to slow down a bit. I will provide grain provision and temporary tax relief. I'm not going to earn much money for taxes, so I may as well do that. Plus, it will lower the amount of money I transfer to the church. Sure, it might cause my coffers to start burning down again, but what do I care? Okay. League wars have ended, at least initially. We're back to religious war again, which is great. I mean, I'm not in the HRE anymore, so it doesn't matter that much. In other news, the Chinese Civil War is raging on, although Ming is gone. Instead, it looks like Min is the dominant one, though Wei might have some interest in going on, and, well, there is a chance for Korea to try something. Never mind. Yeah, okay, the sheer quantities of troops involved. The Golden Horde is gone, the White Horde. And yes, Sicily is still a vassal state. The Ottomans are losing to Naples and Hungary. Naples has a lot of territory in Greece now, as does Hungary. Ireland just got its what? Okay, so Ireland somehow managed to obtain its independence from England. They're still missing Ulster. We're 400 years too early for that, okay? 400 years too early. But yes, I think I've gone on long enough. This is hilarious. Oh, and Jülich-Kleisberg is huge. Oh, that's fascinating. And yes, Bavaria did form, so that's actually also interesting. Oh, and Brittany got its independence. They took advantage of the League War to do that, and France was of course involved in the Catholic side because they were allied to Austria. Yes, very, very strange. Anyway, I have definitely gone on long enough. Yeah, I should avoid having the ending segment be 10 minutes long. Especially now that a overview isn't nearly as important because I'm very unlikely to miss anything because of the new system. Because I used to do it by memory. Anyway, I'll see you again next time. Until then, bye.